Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today for Wednesday, April 2nd. It's Alissa Coram here, and all eyes are focused on the tariffs that are set to hit and be collected starting April 3rd. How will the market react? How will other countries react? We are waiting to see as that press conference from the White House begins. And joining me to discuss today's market action and what we should be looking at ahead of tomorrow is my colleague, Ken Shreve. Ken, what do you have for us today?
Well, I want to take a look at a nice breakout in the oil and gas exploration and production group. So we'll take a look at Comstock Resources, CRK. Also, Trash Collector, WCN, that's Waste Connections. And then finally, Adtalem Education, ATGE.
All right, we will take a look at those stocks, but first, let's analyze the major indexes in a rally attempt here. Day three of a rally attempt. The Nasdaq up 0.9% by session's close. The S&P 500 gained 0.7%. So we got upside reversals here for the major indexes. The Dow up 0.6%. Back above that 200-day line, and the Russell 2000 also with a strong showing today, up about 1.5%, headed into the final stretch of the trading session. Ken, a lot of ground to make up there, though. But what do you make of the action here for the major indexes? It doesn't seem at the moment like it's all doom and gloom, but what are you seeing?
This is what you tend to see in the early stages of a rally attempt. We had that down session Monday where the index closed well off lows and basically flat for the day. So there were definitely buyers in there pushing the Nasdaq off low. So we counted that as the first day of a rally attempt. Nice close near highs. Yesterday, another close near highs. Some buying late in the session on the second day, and then today, it was another whippy session for the Nasdaq. It was up 1.5%, 1.7% intraday. It came all the way back to break even not that long ago, and then it ended up closing near its high again as buyers came in late. So encouraging price action when you're in the early stages of a rally attempt like this, especially after those really those three sharp down days for the Nasdaq, and then that other shakeout on Monday. We still could be in sort of the short covering area where people were covering their shorts. Certainly on Tuesday and Wednesday, but tomorrow being day four, we'll assume that a lot of the short covering has run its course, and that's when we'll look for a sign of strength. So, like you said, it's anyone's guess how the market is going to respond. President Trump looks like he's on time with that 4 o'clock Eastern start, and he just started talking. So I know we're going to have live coverage right on the homepage of investors.com. All the details that come out, but tomorrow's reaction, should be quite interesting.
Yes, interesting and important as this market is in the early stages of a rally attempt, as you mentioned. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. It's even closer to the 200-day line than the Nasdaq. So that's the main concern. Even if we do get another day of strength here in the market, how are the major indexes going to act around that key long-term support level? With the S&P about 1.6% below the 200-day line, the last time it got up there around other tariff related headlines, it got rejected. So that does remain an area that we are closely watching.
Absolutely, and again, we could gap up tomorrow and have a nice day. the market, and or we could gap up and have a nice day, and then all of a sudden the close isn't looking so good. There's just a lot of different scenarios. What we know is we're just in kind of a herky jerky market here. We're in a market that is still in a correction that's trying to make a bottom here, but still too early to tell. So lots of different scenarios tomorrow. If we do get a nice open, we have to watch and see how these gains hold throughout the day. Do they get stronger? Do they fade late? We've certainly seen the market do a lot of that in recent weeks. So lots of different scenarios. The strategy right now hasn't changed. We're still lightly increased exposure a little bit on the leaderboard model portfolio today, but not very aggressively at all. And we'll see if it was the right thing to do. If we're wrong, we can cut losses quickly, but we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Right. As you mentioned, a lot of ifs in this market. So we'll have to be flexible for all scenarios, including if we need to back away, if we don't get a bullish reaction tomorrow. So
Yeah, we
open
could
to all different scenarios.
exactly, and we could get an initial negative response. But if the market is doing what it's done the past three sessions, maybe we get a weak open that is followed up by a strong close. So we'll just, as always, just watch the market's message tomorrow. So I was talking to my colleague Dave Chung just recently, saying that it's probably not going to be a quiet day. It's probably going to be a nice up day or a down day. We'll see how the market
Yeah.
responds to the tariff specifics, but still a lot of concerns out there about a elongated trade war. Just a lot of uncertainty still.
Yeah, we could see some volatility, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Let's quickly talk about blue chips and small caps, starting with the Dow here. So, a notable technical level that it was able to retake, Ken.
Yeah, this is an index that never undercut that low set when it hit that low of 40,661. So we're, I think, 14 days into a rally attempt here. Had a nice shakeout in the Dow on Monday, just like the other major stock indexes. So that low of 40,661 held. So we're still in a rally attempt here, getting in the tail end of it. I think if I counted correctly, today was the 14th day of a rally attempt. So Dow looks better than the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 at this point. The fact that it's slightly above its 200-day moving average wouldn't take much to break this index out of a downtrend, but still has that 50-day moving average to deal with, just like the Russell here.
Hmm. Absolutely. So we will keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at stocks to watch, starting with Comstock Resources in the oil and gas U.S. Explorers Producers Industry Group, up 5.6% on the day. Stocks in the oil and gas sector definitely were of note in today's IBD Live session this morning. CRK among them, with this breakout from a double bottom coinciding with an RS line blue dot, Ken.
Yeah, I mean this is a breakout that held well throughout the day. We tried a breakout recently on leaderboard with Landbridge LB. That breakout did not work very well. But it's kind of holding support at the 50-day moving average here. Back to CRK, this is a breakout that held well, a very clean breakout over the middle portion of that double bottom, the 21 pivot at 2148, not extended at this point, in a good-looking relative strength line. Now, you don't have to be a Dallas Cowboys fan to like Comstock, because Jerry Jones, who's the owner of the Cowboys, owns some 70% of this company, or his family does. But they're mainly a natural gas play with major operations in the Haynesville shale. That's in North Louisiana and East Texas. So natural gas is the focus here, and composite rating of 77 is hurt by that, declining earnings and sales. But like we were talking about recently, a lot of these E&P firms, growth is really expected to ramp up here. So yeah, fundamentals look pretty good. Annual earnings estimates look outstanding, and the stock in the early stages of breaking out here. So
Mm.
I think it looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, and in terms of feedback from the market, we want to see if breakouts that we're seeing this week, stocks that are looking actionable, if those breakouts can hold. So this is one to keep tabs on in that
Yeah,
regard
so
as well.
see, typically in a healthy market, you'll see follow through. So you see
Mhm.
another big percentage gain after an initial gain today. That might not happen in this market, but if Comstock holds on to the bulk of today's 5.5% gain and maybe edges lower by a 0.5%. Maybe down 1% in a tight range. If it can just show strength and support after the breakout, that's what we want to. That's what we want to see.
All right, next on our list is ticker WCN. This is Waste Connections. So we've been seeing names, whether it's pollution control or other utility type areas, your defensive names showing strength in an overall weak tape here. So WCN definitely fits the bill from that standpoint. Ken, a pretty decent looking weekly chart here in terms of the relative strength for a stock that has low volatility.
Yeah, and the first thing we look at is the earning stability rank here of 4. A lot of stocks like this are with a very stable, consistent track record of earnings are seeing demand here because there's really not a lot of earnings risk. The earnings are consistent. You know what you're getting with a company like Waste Connections or even a company like Waste Management that's also been outperforming. So
Mhm.
just a proven track record of growth, and you can see Waste Management looks just like Waste Connections here. So I think this one looks solid as well. If we go to the daily chart, there was a good shakeout today. Um, we came down to the 10-day moving average. I'm looking at that 193.47 as a perfectly legitimate alternate entry here. So whether you're looking at the earlier entry or 193.47, I think both are legitimate. That blue shaded area is referring to the slightly earlier entry, 191.57 there. So either way, still after the upside reversal today, still easily looks in a buy zone here from that 193.47 alternate entry.
Okay, so more defensive stocks still showing strength, which we want to see more growth stocks, right? That are setting up in buy zones, Ken.
It would be nice. I think your trash collectors and your utilities and other defensive areas of the market aren't known for leading sustained bull markets. They tend to be kind of a safe haven during periods of uncertainty. So if we do see this sign of strength that we're looking for in the indexes, I'm not sure some of these kind of quote unquote safer stocks are going to work. We could see that risk on trade and see some of your former leaders really perk up, whether it's a DoorDash or Spotify, Palantir, some of these big leaders. Maybe they'll attract some buying interest. So we'll see.
hmm And last on our list, Ken, we've got ATGE to go over here. Something very interesting is that this consumer services education industry group is ranked number 4 out of the 197 groups that we track. So, some stealth leadership here because this isn't really an industry group that you think of when you think of stock market leadership, but that is exactly what we are seeing here, and a stock with a strong showing here today, up more than 3.7%. And that RS line is hitting a new high with shares still 6% below the prior high from earlier this year.
And as our news editor Ed Carson reminded us recently, this is also a group that is, you're not going to have a lot of tariff fears that are
Mhm.
enveloping stocks here. So not surprising to see several of these names outperforming. You mentioned a very strong industry group, arguably an early buy signal here with ATGE. This is a provider of work services. They specialize specialize in healthcare, so they do a lot of nursing, provider of post-secondary educational services. But I know healthcare is one of their main focuses. So back to the daily chart, arguably an early entry here. Broke out over those recent highs. Volume picked up the pace from yesterday. You got revenue growth accelerating here. Top-notch composite rating of 99. Good earnings estimates, and look at the stability of that earnings growth basically since 2021. The annual earnings starting in 2021, just strong growth, 231 to 311 to 421 to 501, et cetera. So good growth story here in a good technical setup, and it's got good fundamentals as well.
All right. Well, thanks, Ken, for putting that on our radar. Before we go, I just want to check in on futures, see if there's any action there. But really, it's all going to be about tomorrow's regular session. As of now, the Q's tracking the Nasdaq 100, jostling around up about 0.75% to 0.8% or so. SPY looks like it's up a little less than 0.5% here as this news conference continues from the White House.
Yeah, I think to see the Qs up 0.7 tenths of a percent, 0.75, 20 minutes after the market close, that's pretty encouraging. So again, Ed Carson and his team are going to have live coverage on
Mhm.
what's being said at the homepage of investors.com, and this is encouraging. To me, it's a fairly sizable move for the Qs so
Mm.
early in the extended trading session. So we'll see how these gains hold in the aftermarket, and most importantly, what we look like at the open.
Mhm. Okay. Good stuff, Ken. Thank you so much. We always appreciate your take on the market.
Okay, my pleasure.
And thanks everyone for tuning in. That is it from us for today, but it's Wednesday. So we have our weekly Investing with IBD podcast featuring Brian Shannon of alphatrends.net. Really appreciate his look at technical action, not only on the index level, but stocks he's watching, how he approaches risk management in his portfolio. So it's going to be a great discussion. So make sure to tune in live on our YouTube channel. You can also catch the recording on YouTube at investors.com/videos. And of course, wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the other listening platforms of your choice. So we have that to look forward to. And then IBD Live tomorrow morning, starting 10 minutes before the opening bell, investors.com/IBD Live for all those details. We'll see you then, everyone. And then we'll see you right back here tomorrow after the close.